Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Well, it's been over a month since Jaime Maussan of Mexico unveiled to the world what he claims are alien corpses that were found in Peru in recent years. And now it's over a month now, and we still have no answers as to there's still debate ongoing as to whether these things are real or not. I'm going to start with a story that came out last week. This was in dailymail.com, and it was about somebody who said he handled these alien mummies, and that he thinks that they are actually something scarier. Now, the something scarier is that they were basically dummies, ancient dummies that were made using the remains of animals and people and put together. I don't know how that's scarier than an alien, but anyway, it says here, the headline reads, "I've handled the Mexican alien mummies that set the world alight last month. I don't think they're aliens. I think there's something much scarier." Okay, now I'm going to get into this article here. It says a UFO enthusiast who has seen two supposed alien mummies up close has revealed they are probably not extraterrestrials, but something perhaps even scarier. The miniature corpses were presented in Mexico last month by Jaime Maussan, a controversial journalist who has previously made debunked claims of finding aliens and claims they are extraterrestrial. But ufologist Will Galison, a close friend of the archeologist who first analyzed the supposed aliens, said he believes the corpses are dummies that are 1,000 years old, but he does not think that they are a hoax. He said that they may have been made from animal remains a millennia ago, possibly for ritual purposes, with the heads bearing a remarkable similarity to alpaca skulls. Now, I looked at the skulls, alpaca skulls, and I don't think that they look similar, but Will here does. I don't see that. If you do a Google search on alpaca skulls, and you look at the alpaca skull, and you look at the skull of the corpses that were presented by Maussan, they don't look alike to me. So I don't know why I don't see a remarkable similarity there. That's just me, though. Maybe other people do, and obviously Will Galison does. But anyway, it says Galison was performed with Sting, Barbra Streisand, Carly Simon, and Chaka, saw the mummies in 2017 in Peru long before Maussan's presentation, and had traveled to see them initially because he believed they might be extraterrestrial remains. And then the story goes on to say that Galison said in a documentary interview with UFO TV show Nub TV that he visited Peru twice and even took a cast of one of the mummy's heads. He said, "I'm friendly with the French archaeologist Thierry Jarmin, who is a person who is not mentioned as much as he should be. He received these mummies in 2016 from a tomb robber. Thierry was very surprised and quite upset by Jaime Maussan's press conference." Maussan claimed in the press conference in September, "This is the first time extraterrestrial life is presented in such a form, and I think there is a clear demonstration that we are dealing with non-human specimens that are not related to any other species in our world, and that any scientific institution can investigate it. We are not alone." Galison said that he now no longer believes that the mummies came down in a flying saucer, but believes they were constructed a long time ago for unknown reasons. I just want to stop here. Now, this article refers to these corpses as mummies, and I actually erroneously referred to them as mummies when I talked about this initially. And apparently they're not mummies, because mummies is something that gets wrapped up in bandages. I mean, that's a mummy. These are not mummies. These are basically just remains, or they weren't mummified. But this article refers to them as mummies. Anyway, it continues here. It says, "The mummies appear to be constructed from a mixture of animal and human bones," he says. He said in the documentary, "They found one bone in the arm of one of the mummies that clearly was not the organic bone that was there. So that raises the question, is the rest of it fake?" In Maussan's presentation, a doctor claimed that an MRI scan showed that the skeletons were complete, but most scientists were convinced the remains were a hoax, with previous similar remains having turned out to be mutilated mummies of pre-Hispanic children, sometimes combined with bits of animal parts. Galison here says, "My thinking shifted when I was up in the friend's house in the country north of New York, and I saw a deer skull on the mantle, and the back of that deer skull, to my mind, resembled the front of this skull, and I thought, oh, wow." So he's looking at a deer skull on the wall, and he thought that resembled somewhat of the remains that he saw in Peru. He said there is a remarkable similarity between the heads of the alleged aliens and alpaca skulls. Now, again, I looked at alpaca skulls, and I don't think that they look the same, but that doesn't mean I'm right. Anyway, continuing here, he also pointed out that the eggs inside the mummies, which Maussan highlighted as proving their non-human origin, look like reptilian eggs, although it's less clear why their creators put eggs within the bodies. He says in the documentary, it was obviously put together. The question is, was it put together in 2015 to sell to theory, or was it made 1,000 years ago? I do not think that they flew down in a saucer and landed on Earth recently or even 1,000 years ago, because a CT scan showed another thing. According to some of the doctors that examined these things, the leg bone on these things were suffering from osteoporosis. He said that he was initially really invested in these things being real and has since seen similar mummies in Peru which are not as widely known. He remains curious as to why an Incan culture 1,000 years ago would have made such creatures, including going to the lengths of putting eggs inside them, which could only be seen via X-ray. And he also says he still wonders whether the mummies were a recreation of some form of being that the Incans had encountered. Now, that's pure speculation there. Anyway, Mark Christopher Lee, who was the guy who runs Nub TV, interviewed Galison, said, Will Galison has been to Peru and examined the mummies as close friends with Theory, and they have discussed them for many hours. Theory is not very happy about Jaime Maussan's press conference in Mexico. Will examined them, and he suggests that maybe the Incans made them to venerate, possibly as their gods or ancestors. Why make them in that image? Jaime Maussan, as well as being under an investigation for bringing these artifacts out of Peru to Mexico, has a notorious track record of making false claims, etc. Now, I'm not going to get into it here, but of course, like I talked about last month when I talked about this, Maussan, he was one of the loud voices behind the Roswell alien in the glass case from 2015, and that turned out to be just a picture of a mummified boy. So that's one of the reasons why I have some trouble. I think a lot of people in ufology have some trouble with Maussan. But there are some things where Maussan, I mean, at the same time, before some of these things were turned, like the Roswell picture, the Roswell alien picture. Before that, there were things that Maussan did document, a lot of different incidents in Mexico, a lot of UFO sightings, very credible things. But he had a couple of things that happened, like the Roswell alien that put a red mark by his name. Anyway, it says here, Maussan told politicians that the strange little corpses, which were displayed in satin-lined makeshift coffins, had been found in the city of Cusco, Peru in 2017. Maussan also testified under oath that almost a third of their DNA was unknown and the specimens were not part of our terrestrial evolution. Lee's TV show, Nub TV, mixes music and paranormal discussions and revealed recently that Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb believes that aliens could visit Earth in the form of AI drones and might feel kinship with AI systems on Earth. Anyway, I'm not going to read the rest of this article, but I do want to get into some other comments on Will Gallison's assertion that he thinks that these might be dummies that were constructed 1,000 years ago and just buried away. And anyway, last week, Mike Colangelo on Twitter, he's somebody who's on Twitter, a huge name there in the UFO Twitterverse. He posted this on there. He posted a link to this article on there. And then there were some comments that he received here from different people. Alien Whisperer on Twitter said, interesting, but to be earnest, an alpaca skull looks way more different than the mummies have, but who am I? That was my idea too. I mean, you look up what an alpaca skull looks like, and it looks totally different than what you see in the Jaime Maussan alien corpses. We don't know if they're really alien corpses yet. But now, of course, as we all know, some of the DNA testing by some of the people that Maussan had put on the case here reveals that the DNA is not of this earth. And then you have other people saying, well, we need other people. We need different neutral parties looking into this, different experts. And that might be happening right now. Hopefully it is. I think that needs to happen, actually. That needs to happen. We have to have some neutral party examine these so we can so a determination could be made one way or another. Here's something else that somebody wrote on Twitter. Vlad the Alien wrote, well, what does he have to back his opinion? He's talking about Galison here. What does Galison have to back his opinion? Did he do a study to prove it? Did he publish any details how he came to this conclusion? How does he respond to this analysis, which was done after the hearing and proved that they weren't composed of body parts? Yeah, there was, like I said before, there was an examination that was shown after the hearing, and it was they said that it was the DNA was not from this world. But again, these people that were hired by Maussan, so that's why we need to have a neutral party look at this. Well, anyway, Will Galison responded to Vlad the alien. He says, "Hi, Vlad. There is a compelling scientific paper comparing the mummy skulls to llama skulls. However, I keep an open mind. In my honest opinion, Jaime Maussan and his team are not reliable, but new studies will be made and answers found." And there's more to this, to that little tweet thread. But I'm going to go forward here with some other comments from other people. Actually, there were some other things that Galison actually wrote on here underneath. A lot of people think these are fakes. I would say probably, it seems to me, I would say over more than half the UFO community believes that these aren't real, that they're not alien. And he says here, Galison actually responds here again. He says, "I have had the opportunity to closely examine these mummies. I am keeping an open mind on their origins, but the resemblance of the skulls to Apalka skulls is striking. On the other hand, there are many features of the mummies that to me imply that they are not modern fakes." So he thinks that they're ancient fakes. And he goes, "I am not a ufologist in any formal sense, like just a musician who has studied the topic for decades. I can say with 100% assurance that this is not a hoax perpetrated by Thierry Germain and his team. If they are constructions, it is not clear who made them, why, and when." So, I mean, in a way, if they do turn out to be ancient fakes, right, dummies that were created a long time ago, then that gets Jaime Maussan off the hook somewhat, right? I mean, but he does have some people working for him, scientists who are saying that the DNA doesn't match anything on Earth. And I think that's something that needs to be determined. I mean, that's the big one here. That's the big question here. And then moving forward here, there was another comment that I want to mention. It says here, okay, this was from somebody named Galbu. It says, "Whoever is still making theories should just go to the Gaia website and check the MRI, X-ray, and other images they have there. It was established that the mummies, along with Maria, the other alien species found in the same location, have DNA not found on any species on Earth." Of course, the Gaia website has a lot of stuff about aliens on there, and some of it is... some people say that that's just, it's a big, the Gaia is a big phony. They're just trying to they're in this for money, for profit, and they'll put out anything. Some people say, well, no, they're being realistic about this. I don't know. There's just so much information out there. We're getting bombarded from so many different sources anymore. It's hard to keep up with it all. But anyway, Will Galison actually responded. He says, "I agree the DNA tests are compelling. Personally, I do not trust Maussan or Gaia because they have a profit motive. Possibly they selected results that support their theory and rejected those that do not. But new tests will soon be done by a neutral party. Stay tuned." Okay, now I actually asked who is the neutral party that what are we talking about here? Now, recently there was a story about a week after Maussan came out with his presentation, where NASA contractors allegedly going to study the 1,000-year-old alien corpses. And here's another article from Daily Mail that talked about that. And this was from September 22nd. It says, "Exclusive, NASA contractor will reportedly study 1,000-year-old alien corpses presented to Mexico's Congress." A NASA contractor is reportedly looking to study alien bodies that were presented to Mexico's Congress during a controversial UFO hearing. Jaime Maussan, a veteran broadcast journalist and prolific ufologist who presented the corpses last week, told the DailyMail.com that an unnamed third-party contractor has been in contact with him about carrying out a DNA investigation potentially on behalf of the United States Space Agency. The news comes just 1 week after NASA's top UFO investigator, David Spergel, was pressed about the purported alien corpses and did not shut them down entirely. It says Spergel told reporters, "We don't know the nature of these samples. My recommendation is if you have something strange, make samples available to the world scientific community and we'll see what's there." Maussan had first unveiled a pair of alleged 1,000-year-old bodies reportedly unearthed in a Peruvian cave during a UFO hearings held by the General Congress of the United Mexican States, unleashing an international firestorm. And it goes on to say that Maussan heralded the body's discovery as one of the most important in human history. His presentation has sparked an outcry from numerous scientists, anthropologists, and even some dedicated UFO researchers. This week, the temperature of the debate climbed higher, with Peru's Minister of Culture filing criminal charges accusing Maussan and his collaborators of robbing bodies from ancient graves. As of 2022, Peru's Culture Ministry has designated approximately 26,000 protected archaeological sites across the country, but has faced budget constraints in its efforts to secure these valuable artifacts from black market antiquities dealers. But as Maussan told the Daily Mail, "I personally went to the Ministry of Culture to ask them to do the investigation to get involved in this finding. They never did," according to Maussan. "We tried many, many times. We sent letters. And let me tell you something else," Maussan asked rhetorically. "You remember NASA saying that this should be investigated and so on?" "A contractor from NASA took the challenge," Maussan answered. "They are a laboratory dedicated to the reading of DNA." And then it goes on to say, despite several attempts by DailyMail.com via phone and email, NASA's Office of Public Affairs could not be reached for comment. I don't know. We're going to get a contractor from NASA, maybe. I'll leave a link to that article. But we don't really have anything yet, right? We just don't got anything yet. And then here's something from Reddit that was just posted today, and it was a clipping of Dr. Mary K. Jesse from the University of Colorado Hospital, who examined tomogram scans of the Nazca mummy Victoria. And I guess this was from 2017. And here's what what the submission says. It says, "Let me tell you what she said, because I work with her, and we spoke about this event back in 2017 when this all happened. She told me she could not see any type of foul play, such as someone putting these together. The technology to do something like that would have not been available 1,000 years ago. When visualizing joints in imaging, it's next to impossible to fake something as complex as a living creature. No suture marks anywhere or anything suggesting surgery. She told me it looked like it was real." So again, we're in the middle of a debate here still. After it's been a little over a month now since Maussan made it known to the world that, hey, these things are alien bodies, and but we need more. We need some neutral party in there. Now Galison's talking about it on Twitter. Okay, let's see what's going on. Are we getting that? Who is it? Is it what Maussan was saying in late September, that some NASA contractor is going to do it? Let's get the show on the road. The world awaits the answer. Let's find out. Are they ancient dummies, like Will Galison says? Are they alien creatures that do not hail from the planet Earth, as suggested by Maussan and others? Or is it some sort of a hoax? I don't think it's a hoax. I don't think it's a hoax, like a modern day hoax. I have to agree with Galison on that one. Could be. Maybe it is 1,000-year-old dummies. We just don't know. Maybe he's right. I think, but again, this is something like which I said before a month ago, that we definitely need to get to the bottom of this one way or another. We need to have 100% verified, fake or real or something. We need something. We should get answers on this, because I think it's very important. I do think it's important, despite Maussan's past and all of that kind of stuff. Some of the other things he was involved in, this could turn out to be something that changes it around for him. I mean, really. I mean, say these things do turn out to be, they can't identify them. The DNA in them, a neutral party comes in, looks at them and says, yep, guess what? Yep, those other scientists, they're right too. We can't identify this. These are aliens. These were not put together. These were not constructed out of multiple, out of animal bones and human bones. These aren't ancient dummies. That's not a modern day hoax. These are actual corpses, and they're not human. We don't know what they are. We don't know where they came from. That's what we need. We need a neutral party to tell us one way or another, right? That's what we need. And so I am looking forward to an answer to this one. But I guess meanwhile, we just sit back and wait for the time being. Okay, moving on. I want to talk about something else here. I want to go over some of the recent polls that I have on Spotify, some of the Spotify polls. I haven't done it for a few podcasts now. But we're going to go back. We're going to start with the episode Meet the Aliens Plotting to Take Control of Planet Earth. In that episode, I asked this question. There's still 21 days left on this one, by the way. Do you believe in David Jacobs' hypothesis that extraterrestrials are plotting to take control of Earth? There was 88 votes. Now, 39 people, or 44.3%, say yes, while 49, or 55.7%, say no. Like I said before when I talked about this poll, I think I should have had a I don't know, because I just don't know. I don't know. Could be. I mean, he's the one who researched it. Could be. I don't know. I can't side with either one, though. I should have had a third choice in that one, and I failed to do that. But yeah, I would have to go with I don't know. But if I was forced to, if somebody was to come in here right now and demand an answer while pointing a gun at me or something, and I was forced to give a yes or no, I would have to. I'd probably say yes. I would probably say yes. Okay, moving on. For the episode, panel of UFO debunkers instructs science writers how to report on UAP subject. I asked this question: what is the biggest reason UFO debunkers fight against the truth about the extraterrestrial presence? 53 votes on this one so far. 3 people, or 5.7%, say they're alien hybrids. And also 3 people, or 5.7%, say stupidity. 4 people, or 7.5%, say they can't critically think. 6 people, or 11.3%, say they hate change. 7 people, or 13.2%, say the fear of being wrong. 14 people, or 26.4%, say they're part of the cover-up, while 16 people, or 30.2%, say fear of ET reality. It could be a lot of the reasons in there, for, when you really think about it. It's probably a combination of all of them, but probably the top reason would have to be fear of extraterrestrial reality. I think there's a lot of people out there who just don't like that idea, and they don't want to consider it. They just don't want to even think about it. Okay, for the episode, Scottish politician demands UFO transparency / Calvine UFO photographer still sought. I asked this question: what is the diamond-shaped object in the Calvine UFO photo? And there were 45 votes so far with 23 days left. One person, or 2.2%, say it's a hoax. Another one person says, or 2.2%, says it's a military kite. Which is absolutely ridiculous. That military kite was actually one of the suggestions made by debunker Mick West. I don't think it was a military kite. 3 people, or 6.7%, say optical illusion. I don't think that's pretty solid there. I can't agree with that one bit. I mean, that looks like a solid object there floating in the sky. I don't think it's an optical illusion. Now, I know some people might... one of the suggestions by the debunkers was that it might be something floating on water, and that created this optical illusion that it was something in the air. But the picture wasn't taken near water; it was taken over a hilly terrain. It was dry land. There was no lake there or anything like that for that sort of optical illusion. So I don't agree with that. Okay, 5 people, or 11.1%, say other. Well, yeah, it could be something that who knows, other. 7 people, or 15.6%, say secret military craft. There is a large contingent out there, actually, who believe that it could be some sort of military craft that the Ministry of Defense was testing, or maybe even the United States was testing over in the United Kingdom. Who knows? I don't agree with that. I mean, based on the report that the thing was floating there for 10 minutes before shooting straight up in the sky at an incredible rate of speed, I don't believe that human beings have created this sort of technology. And I'm certain that even at this point, we did not create something like that. And I'm certain that in 1990 we didn't have anything like that either. And then 28 people, or 62.2%, say extraterrestrial / non-human intelligence craft. I would have to go with the majority on this one. Of course, I think it might have been extraterrestrial. It doesn't make me right, of course, because I like to say that. But could have been. Could have been. I mean, it seems. I don't think I've never seen anything flying around like that. I mean, that was over 30 years ago now. I haven't seen anything like that. So yeah, no, I don't know. Yeah, yeah. I think that's what it is. That's just my opinion. Anyway, for the episode "Motorist Abducted by Sentient Machines and Other Unique Alien Encounters," I asked this question: of the extraterrestrial types listed below, which one do you find the most frightening? Okay, 0 people said short blues. Okay, nobody's afraid of the short blues. That doesn't strike fear for the most part in people. 1 person, or 2.6%, say Nordics. Nordics are scary. You know, I wonder about Nordics. Sometimes I wonder if Nordics are actually reptilian creatures wearing a holographic mask. I ask myself those kind of questions. Moving on here. 3 people, or 7.9%, say the Hopkinsville Goblins. Yeah, you know, Hopkinsville Goblins are pretty scary. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't, yeah, definitely. 3 people, or 7.9%, say robots/machines. You know, machines, I think I'd be pretty afraid if there was something coming at me, like something like the Pascagoula aliens. They were like robots, they said. I think I'd be afraid of I might be more of afraid of a robot, because, I mean, it's a robot. I mean, it doesn't have any sort of empathy whatsoever, I wouldn't think, right? So you might get hurt. I mean, in fact, in that podcast for this when I was for the episode in which this appeared, this question appeared, I was talking about this guy that was abducted by these machines, the AI. I mean, and they had like a wall with an arm on it. I mean, what the heck? I mean, that's scary. I don't think I'd like that one bit. Okay, 4 people, or 10.5%, say grays. The grays are the most frightening. Yeah, I think I'd be frightened if a bunch of grays came traipsing through the wall right now. I'd be afraid. I wouldn't like it one bit. Okay, 13 people, or 34.2%, say reptilians. Yeah, reptilians. They're definitely scary. I mean, you know, you you don't want to see. I mean, I think it was those beings that possibly were showed up at that Las Vegas family's backyard that back in May. They might have been reptilians with the big mouths. I don't think I'd want to see those things face to face. And then finally, 14 people, or 36.8%, say insectoids. Yes, intelligent insects. Yes, giant praying mantises that stare you in the face and give you screen memories. I'm telling you, that has to be terrifying. Would have to be terrifying. You have to wonder. Well, I have trouble believing that insects on some other world somehow evolved to, you know, build technology. I can't imagine it, but I guess anything's possible in this universe. We just don't know. It just sounds so insane that insects could evolve into do things like human beings do here. I have trouble with it, but based on the reports, it looks like some insects have evolved. And looks like they're flying around in machines that beat any sort of technology that we've created thus far. Okay, going back here now to the final one. For the most recent episode, Elizondo says UFO disclosure efforts underway / Colorado Bigfoot sighting. I asked this question: is the creature in the Silverton Bigfoot video real or fake? I have 61 votes so far with 25 days left. Only 12 people, or 19.7%, say it's real. 22 people, or 36.1%, say they need more information. And a majority of people, 27 or 44.3%, say it's fake. Okay, I do not fall with the majority on this one. I go with need more information. 22 people, that's the one I go. I side with those people, with that group. I think how could you say it's? I don't know how anybody could say one way or another, or another what it is. I mean, it could be real. We just don't know. I mean, you need someone to go to that actual spot and do some research there. I mean, it looked like the Bigfoot was, you know, it was walking, and then it looked like it noticed a train, and then it squatted and it blended in with the landscape there. But however, I mean, for all we know, there could be evidence up there. There could be footprints. I mean, we know exactly where the spot is. There could be footprints. There could be some fur on some of that brush. Or here's another thing I didn't mention the last time. I mean, that thing was squatting down there. I mean, it could have been taken a number 2. I mean, there could be some nuggets up there laying that have some DNA in there that could end this whole debate. I mean, for all we know, that's what was going on. So if I was a scientist and I saw this video, I would want to prove one way or another if there was something to it. I would actually go to that site and see if there's anything there. There might be some evidence there that could prove something, right? Prove that it was fake. Maybe you could find some synthetic fur attached to a bush or something, or maybe it's some kind of fur or some DNA in it that doesn't match anything that we got, or maybe there's some turds laying up there that could tell us something. But if I was a scientist, I'd be going to that spot and trying to do some digging there, and there might be some evidence there that could prove one way or another if this thing is real or fake. Anyway, I want to say thank you for joining me. Until next time.